Mm,
Hits different.
20 must-watch retro anime movies you shouldn't miss. You really. So subscribe to Geek Recommends, leave a like, share the love. Let's check it out because yes, must be maybe I'll find something interesting. Maybe we'll discover like some cool movies that we never knew it could even exist.
Before digital coloring, older anime films that just... There is something about older anime films that just hits different. Before digital coloring and CGI became the standard, every frame was painted by hand, and filmmakers had to rely purely on craft and storytelling to make things work. A lot of these films have been buried under decades of newer releases, and unless someone points you toward them, you might never find them. So that is what this video is for. 20 retro anime films that are genuinely worth your time. Some you will have heard of, others probably not. Let's get into it. Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind came out in 1984 and was only Miyazaki's second film as director. It is set in a post-apocalyptic world overrun by toxic forests and giant insects. But instead of leaning into typical sci-fi, Miyazaki built something almost mythological. The central conflict is not good versus evil, it is humanity versus nature, and Nausicaa herself is one of the best protagonists in the medium. She is compassionate and determined, but never feels like a saint. She gets angry, gets scared, makes mistakes. The animation was made entirely without computers and still holds up. This film is essentially the reason Studio Ghibli exists. Ghost in the Shell came out in 1995 and still feels ahead of its time. On the surface, it is about...
Ghost in the Shell is so unbelievable when it comes to just what it looks like, how it feels like, and like it has a vibe to it. Like, oh my god, if you never immerse yourself into Ghost in the Shell,
cyborg cops hunting a hacker. But what the film is really about is identity. If your body is mechanical and your memories can be rewritten, where does your sense of self actually live? The film weaves these questions into the story without ever stopping to lecture you. Visually, the attention to detail is staggering. Small things like shadows behaving correctly on an invisible character because light still interacts with mass show the level of thought that went into every frame. It famously inspired The Matrix, and that comparison is not a small one. Released in 1997, Perfect Blue launched the career of Satoshi Kon. It follows a pop idol who leaves her group to pursue acting, only to spiral into paranoia as a stalker, compromising roles, and a crumbling sense of reality close in on her. Kon blurs the line between what is real and what is performance so effectively that by the midpoint, you are as disoriented as the main character. The production was hit hard by the Kobe earthquake and the budget was slashed, but the finished product still holds together. It is dark and graphic, but never gratuitous for its own sake. Everything serves the story. Jinro came out in 1999, directed by Hiroyuki Okiura, from a screenplay by Mamoru Oshii. Set in an alternate Japan during civil unrest, it follows a member of an elite armored police unit who witnesses a young girl detonate herself in front of him. That event breaks something in him, and the rest of the film is about the fallout. The whole story is built around the fairy tale of Little Red Riding Hood and uses that framework in a way that feels earned. The animation is hyper-realistic. Facial expressions, body movement, even how rain collects on surfaces. It is slow and deliberate, and it rewards patience. By the final scene, it leaves a mark that does not fade easily. Only Yesterday is a 1991 Ghibli film directed by Isao Takahata. No fantasy, no magic, just a 27-year-old office worker taking a trip to the countryside and reflecting on her childhood memories. That is the entire premise, and somehow it is one of the most absorbing films the studio ever made. The script handles memory with a subtlety that is rare in any medium. Takahata's team gave the adult characters realistic facial musculature, creating a hyper-realism that makes you forget you are watching animation. This is a quiet, reflective film. It will not grab you with spectacle, but if you meet it where it is, it stays with you. Mamoru Oshii directed Angel's Egg in 1985, and it is one of the most unusual films on this list. A girl carries a large egg through a dark, decaying world. She meets a boy carrying a cross-shaped weapon. They wander through gothic landscapes with barely any dialogue. The film is dense with Christian symbolism it never explains. Oshii himself said the meaning lies inside every viewer. What is undeniable is the art. Yoshitaka Amano handled character designs, and every frame is stunning. The orchestral score perfectly matches the bleak atmosphere. It is not for everyone. Some will find it deeply moving, others pretentious. Both reactions are valid. Royal Space Force: The Wings of Honiamis is a 1987 film, and it was Gainax's debut production, years before Evangelion. Set in an alternate world, it follows an aimless young man who joins a neglected space program and works toward the first manned launch. The world building is absurdly detailed, from architecture to currency to politics. Everything feels lived in. The character work is grounded. The budget was massive for its time, and it shows in the animation quality. The soundtrack was composed by Ryuichi Sakamoto, who scored The Last Emperor. The final sequence alone makes it worth watching. Vampire Hunter D is a 1985 cult favorite set in a post-apocalyptic world overrun by vampires. A mysterious half-vampire hunter named D is hired to kill a powerful vampire count. The story is straightforward, but D's internal struggle as a half-vampire, fighting his own nature while saving people who would fear him, adds real depth. Character designs by Yoshitaka Amano give it a distinct visual identity, even if the low budget means the animation is choppy in places. It is a product of its era, with all the charm and roughness that implies. If you enjoyed dark fantasy and gothic horror, this one has kept people coming back for decades.
This feels like dark fantasy.
Penguin's Memory came out in 1985, and yes, it is about penguins. But beneath the simple art style is a film about post-traumatic stress and reintegrating into daily life after war. There is no melodrama. The film takes a quiet, almost meditative approach to its subject, and that restraint is what makes it work. The pacing is slower than modern audiences might expect, but it never drags. It feels like a genuine classic that just never found its audience. The fact that it's so unknown is baffling. Give it a chance if you can find it. Rojin Z, written by Katsuhiro Otomo in 1991, is a satirical sci-fi film about an aging population crisis. The government develops a fully automated hospital bed that handles every patient need, and predictably, things go wrong. It is sharp satire aimed at healthcare systems, the treatment of the elderly, and blind faith in technology, but it is also genuinely funny. Otomo's sensibility keeps it from becoming preachy. It balances social commentary with enough absurdity to stay entertaining throughout. It is one of those rare films that has become more relevant with time. The 1996 X film takes a very different approach from the later TV series. It is dark, compressed, and fatalistic. Two factions battle over the fate of Tokyo, driven by a prophecy that is essentially self-fulfilling. People die not because the war demands it, but because they believed the prophecy said they would. The protagonist is forced into choices that guarantee he loses everything he cares about, no matter what he does. The film operates on multiple levels and delivers one of the more striking endings from that era. If you saw the TV series first, this is a very different experience. The Ocean Waves is a 1993 Ghibli film made entirely by the studio's younger staff. No Miyazaki involvement. It is a grounded romance about a love triangle between three high school students in a small coastal town. No supernatural elements, just real human emotions handled with care. At around 70 minutes, it could have used more time, and some character development feels rushed. But what is there works well. It is easily the most overlooked film in the Ghibli catalog, and it does not deserve that status. Golgo 13, The Professional, was released in 1983, and this was one of the first anime films made specifically for adult audiences. It follows the legendary assassin Duke Togo after a hit draws the wrath of a powerful oil baron. The film was an early adopter of CGI in anime and features a story driven less by its stoic protagonist and more by the antagonist's obsessive pursuit of revenge. The supporting cast lacks depth, but the central conflict carries it. This was one of several titles that helped open Western markets to mature anime content before Akira arrived. Wicked City is directed by Yoshiaki Kawajiri in 1987, based on a novel by Hideyuki Kikuchi. The plot involves agents from the human world and a demon world maintaining a fragile peace. The story is not really the draw. The atmosphere is. Kawajiri creates a mood that is dark, dangerous, and visually striking, leaning heavily into noir aesthetics. I should note that this film contains graphic content, including sexual violence, that will not sit well with many viewers. It is very much a product of its time. If you can handle the more extreme elements and enjoy dark supernatural thrillers, it delivers a specific kind of experience that few other films offer. It is not one I would recommend broadly. Venus Wars is a 1989 sci-fi film set on Venus during a war between two nations. Where it shines is in its mechanical design and battle sequences. The tanks and vehicles are absurdly over-designed in the best way, and the urban warfare scenes carry real scale. Where it falls short is characters. Most of the cast is underdeveloped, and the dialogue can feel stiff. But as a military sci-fi spectacle with committed world building and impressive action, it is a worthwhile watch. Just go in for the hardware and the atmosphere, not the character work.
Arion is a 1986 film loosely based on Greek mythology. The story is standard mythological fare, but the visual presentation is what earns it a spot here. The animation is fluid, the directing is inventive, and the character designs come from the same artist who did the original Gundam. If you appreciate strong visual direction and 80s animation aesthetics over narrative depth, Arion has plenty to offer. Spriggan is a 1998 action showcase from Studio 4C. The story is thin, and the protagonist is a generic teenage operative, but the animation quality is genuinely impressive. Fight choreography is fluid and dynamic. The climax leans into Akira territory, which feels derivative, but as a pure action film with strong production values, it is an entertaining watch. Just do not expect it to stick with you afterward. Released in 1994, Street Fighter II, the animated movie, is widely considered the best anime adaptation of a video game. The fight choreography was coordinated with real martial arts input, resulting in action that feels both grounded and faithful to the games. The Chun-Li versus Vega fight is still regarded as one of the best animated fight sequences in anime. The Japanese and English versions use completely different soundtracks, which actually changes the tone of certain scenes significantly. It is not deep or complex, but as action filmmaking that respects its source material, it stands above every other video game adaptation out there. Locke the Superman is a 1984 film about an immortal psychic drawn into a conflict involving a military leader weaponizing psychic soldiers. Locke is an interesting protagonist. His immortality gives him a detached, melancholic perspective that sets him apart from typical action heroes. The scale is ambitious for a single film, so some elements feel compressed, but the core narrative holds. For fans of classic sci-fi with psychic abilities and political intrigue, it is a solid pick.
Gal Force is a 1986 sci-fi film following an all-female crew in the final stages of an interstellar war. For most of its runtime, it is standard military space opera, but a sci-fi twist near the end elevates it beyond its setup. The space battles are well animated, and the soundtrack matches each scene effectively. Character work outside the lead is thin, but as an entry point into the larger Gal Force series, it works well. If the premise grabs you, the later installments are worth pursuing. That is 20 retro anime films worth going back to. Some are established classics, others are buried deep in anime history waiting to be found. If you have seen any of these, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if
This was an interesting take. So far, I didn't got this moment where I was like, oh my fucking god, this one I actually really want to watch it. Sadly enough, but it's interesting to know if I get some time to fucking check it out.